Ladies and gentlemen, now it is time for our keynote speech of the 2019 Sports Industry Global Conference. Now, you may recall that many Koreans took to the street, it was last summer, to root for our national football team for the U20 World Cup. Now, Korea, if you remember, came up just short of winning the trophy. However, the 18-year-old Lee Gang-in made Korea's men's football history by winning the Golden Ball. Now, Yi is currently playing as a midfielder in La Liga for Valencia, as many of the soccer fans out there would know. This year's Sports Industry Global Conference keynote speaker is from La Liga. She is Ms. Belen Povorinos, and she is responsible for La Liga's Asia business. She's the manager for Southeast Asia, Australia, Korea, and Japan. Now, today her keynote speech will be on the pathway from data to artificial intelligence in the sports industry. I believe that she is not ready yet, so let me switch to Korean and just to recap on the title of her presentation. 네, 오늘 라리가 아시아 총괄 모시고 스포츠 산업의 데이터에서 인공지능까지의 경로라는 주제의 기조 강연 들어볼 텐데요. 앞으로 모시면 큰 박수로 환영을 해 주시면 좋을 것 같습니다. And I believe that we are stalling a little bit because we need to have her microphone on for the keynote speech. 네, 지난 여름에 대한민국을 뜨겁게 열기로 가득 채웠던 것이 바로 대한민국 20세 이하 축구대표팀의 활약이었는데요. 그때 이강인 선수의 활약 아마 기억하실 겁니다. 이강인 선수가 지금 라리가에서 좀 뛰고 있는데요. 라리가 아시아 지역 매니저 분의 기조 강연이 잠시 후 있겠습니다. 그러니까 말씀드렸다시피 동아시아, 호주, 일본 그리고 한국 매니저 이 지역을 담당하고 있는 라리가 총괄 매니저신데요. 네, 지금 준비가 되셨습니다. 기조 강연을 뜨거운 박수와 함께 맞아보도록 하겠습니다. Please join me in welcoming La Liga, Ms. Povorinos, with a big hand.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Well, as she said, I'm Belen Povorinos, and I'm the Asia manager for La Liga. I'm in charge of the business development of this brand of Spanish football in Asia, specifically Southeast Asia, Australia, Japan, and Korea. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about how the data that we've been using in La Liga is going to change how we see the world of business now in the present and in the future. So to make this talk, I've structured this talk in 3 parts. The first part is going to be the past. I need you to understand where we come from and what we've been doing in the past 5 years so that you know how we can get to this point of this new strategy of the data strategy. The second part, obviously, is going to be data. I'm going to explain a little bit about what we're doing right now in La Liga, what tools we're using, so that you can see where we're going and where we stand right now. And the first part, which is going to be a short one, I'm going to talk about a little bit more about the future. Obviously, this is just some predictions, I guess. So I'm going to start now with where we come from. So I've been working in La Liga for the past 3 years almost, and I've been able to witness how much we've grown, the brutal growth that we've experimented in La Liga. So as you can see in this slide, in the left part of the slide, you can see that in season 2013, we had a different name. We were called LFP, which stands for Spanish Football League, which was quite of a national or very Spanish name, right? And we had a handful of sponsors. these sponsors were mainly national. That's because our strategy back in the day was to focus on the national market, because that's where most of our fans were. Right now, in this part, this is in 2019, we changed the name a couple of years ago to La Liga, which is a more international name and easy to identify to the international markets and fans that we deal with on a daily basis. As you can see, the sponsor landscape has changed a little bit too. Thanks to new technologies, now we can geo-target our strategies using local strategies and have more regional sponsors. This means that when you're watching a football match in America, for example, you can see Verizon as our main sponsor, but if you're watching the same football game in Asia, for example, you can see GCOX. So these new technologies have allowed us to grow in a way that we were not able back in the day. This obviously, this change of strategy from the national one to the international one affected the TV rights evolution too. See, back in the day, we had 840 million of income in the TV rights landscape. As you can see, the red part is the national part, so it was mainly, the weight was in the national market. Nowadays, we have 2,100 income in TV rights. And as you can see, the yellow part represents the 42% of all the income. So the international part and this strategy that we implemented has been working. And we realized that all these fans that we had around the world are very much larger than the ones that we have in Spain. So we need to focus on them too and take care of them too. Obviously, this would not have been possible without all the broadcasters that we work with on a daily basis. We have broadcasters in almost every single part of the world, as you can see here. And La Liga can be watched in over 180 countries in the world through 107 broadcasters. So how did we get the fans, the international fans, to watch our football games? Well, in 2009, almost 10 years ago, we used to have these time slots settled for the Spanish fan, for the Spanish market. That means that this typical Spanish person would watch a football match in the Saturday and Sunday evenings or afternoons. This obviously was not suitable for the international fans because, for example, this was not like the 9 p.m. on a Sunday time slot was not suitable for Asia. For example, it was not an Asia-friendly time slot because everybody would be sleeping, right? So we changed these time slots and we increased them to 10. As you can see now, we have the Friday time slot, all Saturday, all Sunday, and the Monday that I'm going to explain a little bit more about this, why I separated it. But basically what we discovered with this is that we can have a global reach so that our Spanish fans could watch football in like more time slots, and the ones living in America or in Asia could be able to watch our football matches too. The Monday time slot is like separated because we are still in conversations with the Spanish Federation of Football, since they want to take out this time slot and erase it and just keep this part. We believe that this affects especially our African and European fans. This is because we made studies and we realized that the time where most people were watching TV on Africa and in Europe was in this time slot. So this time slot really affects the football fan and affects the competition. Obviously, when you're changing the time slots, you get your audiences can be affected, and the attendance to stadiums can be affected too. This resulted in a positive change because we increased the presence in the stadiums, attendance to stadiums, by 20% in these years. This means that Spanish people normally that go to stadiums can have more time slots to go to stadiums. And young kids could not go to watch a football match on a Sunday evening because they're supposed to be sleeping, right? So Now we've created this whole show about a family event. Now youngsters can experience football too, and we can create new fans from a very, very young age. Obviously, with this new international strategy, the TV audience changed too, since we increased our visibility and our exposure to new fans, not new fans, but like new people for us, new international fans. The TV audience increased from 1.2 billion to 3 billion. So we tripled this number just by focusing on the international strategy. So that makes our competition grow and increase. And obviously, as a result, the TV rights would increase too. So the competition has more value for everybody. So back in the day, in season 13, we only had 57 employees in Spain. This is where you can actually see the growth of the company, of the structure of the company. Right now, we have over 600 people working in 46 different countries in the world, with 10 offices that have 6-7 people each. So these 45 delegates that we have working around the world are one of each in one country, and they are focused in their local strategies. Okay, they are experts at their country. They learn the culture, sorry, and they can create different strategies depending on which part of the country you are in. It's not the same, for example, in India, to have a strategy in the south of India or in the north. It changes a lot. And we were not able to see this until we had somebody there and an office there to explain that to us. So now that I've talked a little bit about where we come from and what we've been doing in the last 5 years, there's a new strategy that we've been working on too in the last 4 years maybe. This strategy needed time because it's something very new for us and we wanted to do things the right way. And it's a data strategy. So I'm going to dig a little deeper in what we do, what tools we use, and how we use this information that we get from fans all over the world. First of all, I'm going to show you the organizational chart that we have. You'll notice that I've put the Business Intelligence and Analytics department in the middle of it. That's not normally how you put an organizational chart, right? So this is because this department has two main characteristics. First of all, this department needs to be transversal. That means that this department works with every single department of La Liga. And this department needs to have one person in each department to understand the numbers and to understand and makes us understand the ones that the ones that don't deal with numbers, that we need to work with them in order to gain more information and more value for our competition. So, talking about how this department was created, it all started in February 2016. As you can see, 5 members of the executive committee of La Liga traveled to Seattle. In that meeting, they met with the Microsoft executive committee, and they realized that we needed to make a change here. We needed to understand that data was the future, and it was already the present. We just didn't know it yet. So we had all this information that we've been gathering throughout the years, and we didn't know what to do with it. So this meeting was really like the milestone of the new strategy. From there, we signed an MOU in July 2016 and a contract with Microsoft to create this platform of digital and data. Obviously, we needed somebody to be in charge of these communications with Microsoft to help us understand a little bit more about this tool and how we could improve it for La Liga, like La Liga demands. So Minerva Santana assumed the project, and she's still working in Spain for that project. So it's very important for us. She's been working there for like 3 years, only in that project. Then, of course, we had the first product, or the first mock-up product, released in July 2017. this product was a digital platform that we were talking about, and you can see the gap. So since February 2016 till July 2017, so almost 1.5 years later, we've been working with Microsoft, but we didn't have anything to work with. We just had the first product 1.5 years later. That's how slow things are with data if you want to make things right. And we hired Jose Carlos Franco, which is the head of this department, the Business Intelligence and Analytics department, so that he could manage all the people that were going to work in this department. He started by himself, and little by little, he constructed a team of 24 people with different profiles, and none of them were related to the sports industry. Most of them are mathematicians or telecom engineers, industrial engineers. They're all they all have expertise in that field, but none of them had any sports industry background. So what's the difference between business intelligence and business analytics? Well, business intelligence for us is the part where you organize the data and you centralize it and you prepare it. So you have this bunch of information, this big data that you don't know how to deal with. And you organize it, you prepare it, and then the business analytics will ask the right question so that we can have an answer. That is very important for us because it makes us, helps us with the decision-making process. And with the decision-making process, what you do is you understand the fan better by studying those numbers and all that information that you've been gathering throughout the years. If you understand your fan and the experiences they have with you, how you engage with them, the value of your competition will increase. And as a result, the income of the TV rights income, which is very important for us because we distribute it to the clubs. So if we, the increase in the TV rights helps the clubs to buy new players or improve stadiums or create new strategies that need investment. So where do we get all this data from? How do we work in La Liga with all this data, and how do we get this data from different platforms? Well, we have different digital assets with different characteristics. The first one would be La Liga apps. These are tailored by La Liga, and there's like the official La Liga app where you can see schedules or player statistics. You get all the information about the competition. Or you can have different games, such as head soccer or the fantasy game, which is a manager's game. Then you have the clubs apps. These apps gives us the information about the fan, who is a fan of which football club, which is very important for us because if somebody's using the La Liga app and is using the club's apps, you can say that he's a football fan, but he's a football fan of a certain football team, which is very important for us because it gives us a lot of information. Then, of course, we have the La Liga web, in which we post everything related to La Liga, from news to institutional agreements. Everything that surrounds La Liga is in that web page. And we recently launched an OTT, a streaming service for different sports. And by different sports, I mean none of them are related to football. Football, you cannot watch football there right now. So there are 20 different sports in there, such as basketball or handball or futsal. And fans can go into that streaming platform and stream their their basketball matches or their handball matches within a La Liga environment, right? This also helps us a lot. This is in the earliest stages, so we're still learning a lot from it, but it helps us understand how the fan consumes not only football, but different sports. So you can see that if there's a basketball match happening at the same time as your football match, you might be losing fans that are watching your football match. So this is very important for us. And last but not least, we have the branded content. I'm going to talk a little bit more about branded content later, but just so you know, this these are like some pieces of like articles or editorials that we create that might not be about football, but they are surrounded by football. They are stories about football or um, stories about what we think fans would like to hear about or to read about. So now that we have all of this, we needed to put it in the same place, right? And cross-check all this data. So we call it the data lake, and we put all of this information, all the numbers, in the same place. We cross-check them to see if one fan is a fan of basketball or is a fan of Alaves, or both at the same time, right? With all this data, what we do is we separated it, and we created like special dashboards for business intelligence and other tools that helps us optimize our results through business analytics, which is artificial intelligence. If we go to the dashboards that we created, we have created two of them. And the international dashboard, which is the first one that I'm going to explain, is an internal tool that we have in La Liga. This dashboard help us understand and see how we are performing in football in different countries, in almost every single country in the world. So you have in one place all the information related to La Liga or not to La Liga, to like for everybody to see within La Liga. As you can see, this is an example of it. This is for India specifically. You can see that you have here some macro data. I'm sorry because this is in Spanish. It's just because we are all Spanish and everybody uses this platform, so I'm sorry for that. But you have these economic data, such as population, TV, like how many, like the penetration of the TV in different homes, the PhD, or the currency conversion with euros or USD. Then we have the brand tracking of La Liga, which are specific studies that we make in La Liga to understand how our international fans consume sports and football, and also how our brand is perceived by them, which is really important too. Also, what you can see here is how we are perceived against our peers, which is really important too, because we need to know our position in this market. Then you would have the audiences in TV and the users of OTT, of streaming platforms, and how that penetrates in the market. This is very important for the OTT, of course, because we need to know if they're watching us or they're interested in any other sport, Spanish sport, in other parts of the world. Then you have the registered users. So within the La Liga digital assets, we are interested in seeing how many people from India are registered as a user within our platforms. Obviously, now with all the technology and social media, we need to study those social media too. So we have the number of followers in Facebook and in Instagram or in any other social media that we might have, because this varies within the countries. We don't have the same ones in China or in the US. So this is kind of tailored for each country in the world. Obviously, you have the analytics, the digital analytics, like active users or how many new registrations that there have been in 1 month. And last but not least, we have the value of our TV rights. As you can see here, for example, in India, it's 5 million. This is very important for us because when you are working in business development and you need to tailor different strategies for different parts of the world, you need to have all the information possible to make these strategies the best as possible. This is just another example so that you can see that I'm not lying. This is for every single country of the world. But this is for Indonesia, for example. So you can see that it's exactly the same dashboard, but with different numbers that affect this country. Going on to the club's dashboards, we recently launched this. And this is a service that we give to these football clubs that are in La Liga. These dashboards help the football clubs understand how their football club is performing or is doing in each country of the world too. So this is a little bit different, but it's only because it's tailored for football clubs. You can see the stadium attendance, for example, for the last match day, or you can see the audience in national TV or international TV. That helps us understand that if you want to create this new strategy around the world, you need to focus in the countries that are really interested in your football club. Then you have the number of registrations within the La Liga digital assets, so that you know more or less how many fans there are in La Liga that are fans of your football club. Of course, you have followers and active users and so on. This is just a tag of them. If you look at the upside part of the slide, you can see that this is like a summary of all the information that they can see. But if we go to another one, you can see that you can have an analysis and a study of your football fans. So for example, for this club, you have nearly 200,000 followers or fans of your football club. But you can see that some of them are from Spain, some of them are from the US, Brazil, and you can separate them by gender and age, which is great because you need to know who to target when you are creating these strategies. Then you have different impacts that you can have when making La Liga campaigns. And all this information help these clubs to create these strategies. But of course, if they need help, additional help from La Liga, we still have more tools to help them create these strategies. Now, going to the business analytics part, this is a very interesting tool that we created in October 2017. This tool distributes the time slots and the football matches that are in a match day, right? So basically what they do, we have 10 slots, as I said before, and these 10 slots need to be distributed along all those times. So the first football match, the big one, the biggest of the week, is chosen by the Spanish broadcaster. We call it El Partidazo, which is like the big game. So the broadcaster chooses that football match. Then we have another one for free-to-air TV, which is chosen too. So the remaining 8 are left out. And we need to see through all this data that we have and forecasts that we can make, where is the optimal time slot for these football matches. So basically what we do is we use the business intelligence to go back in time and use the data that we have, the historical data that we've been gathering all these years, and see, for example, how many people went to that football match, like stadium attendance in the last season, for example, or several seasons in the past. But then, of course, what we do is try to guess or predict how many people are going to go to the stadium, or the audiences in TV, or the international audiences in TV. This is very important because those are the 3 variables that we use and that we need to optimize. This means that we need to make our football match be the most watched event, sports event during the week. So with all this, we take different algorithms and variables to study this kind of, like, to try to predict the future. So we take, for example, the weather forecast, which is really important because that's going to affect the stadium attendance. So we need to know if it's going to rain or if it's going to be sunny. We need to know, too, the position of the sun, so that we know in the audiovisual rights and all the audiovisual parts with the camera where the sun is going to be, and if it's going to be a good spot. Then we also use it, for example, to know if there's going to be a strike, if there's a problem in Spain or some kind of event that's going to affect our football match and less people are going to come, or in the surroundings of the stadium, there's going to be some kind of problem. So if we take all these together, we put it in the system, and this tool optimizes all this data and gives us the best possible distribution for the football matches. As you can see, the real versus estimated in TV audience is 1%, which is pretty precise, to be honest. And the stadium attendance is 3.4% of error. So we are not perfect. We are still getting there. But this gives us like the real situation of what's going to happen in 30 days time. Then we have the La Liga Sports TV dashboard. This is related to the streaming platform that we recently launched. As you can see, there are different variables that you can see as registered users, monthly active users, videos that have been viewed, or what's the event that has been most viewed. This helps us understand, as I said before, that if there's a basketball event and a football match event at the same time, we're going to lose fans watching TV. Not TV, but like our football match. So we need to be aware of this environment too. Through this dashboard, you can also see how many users were registered through Google, Facebook, or if they were using their mobile phones with Android or iOS. So that gives us an understanding of how the fan engages with us and what's the best way to engage with them too. Now we're going to programmatic advertising. This is about the branded content that I was explaining before. This digital asset is a little bit different from the rest of the digital assets that I've been talking about earlier. Why? Because the users that use branded content are not registered within La Liga environment. So there's no way that we can know if they're a football team fan or if they consume La Liga. So we place these articles or these editorials about football or not football, maybe other sports, in digital media, right? You don't have to register for that. So the only way to get information from this are the cookies. So that way, we collect all these cookies and we put them in the data warehouse. This is Salesforce for us. And what we do is campaign activations. For example, this is a very clear example of what we can do. But if you are watching some kind of editorial about rugby, Spanish rugby, which is like a well-known sport in Spain, and you want to buy a new TV, you cross-check the cookies and the data that you have, and you say, hey, this fan is going to buy a new TV, and he's reading about rugby too, and rugby is within our La Liga Sports TV platform. So why don't you buy this new TV and watch our platform and watch rugby through our platform? This is some of the things that we do. So segmentation is very, very interesting for us because we get to personalize all the content that we send the user so that he or she doesn't feel overwhelmed by all these campaigns and all these things that we are sending everybody. It doesn't work. Okay, no, sorry. Now, what do we do with the registrations that we already have, our fans that we know? This is pretty straightforward, and I think it's more like the easiest way to get fans and to send them information about La Liga. But whenever you register in a La Liga app, the first question that you're going to get is, which is your favorite football team? That gives us a clue. So if we know that you are this football fan of a specific football team, and that you are using the La Liga digital assets such as the fantasy, then we can send you information about when the football match of your favorite football team is going to take place so that you can go watch it. We are still working with voice assistant. This is kind of new for us, but we're trying our best to see if we can take advantage of this new technology too. I think nowadays not most people, but a lot of people use these kind of like these platforms such as Cortana or Siri to ask questions and have an instant answer. So the platforms that we work with are Skype, Google Assistant, Bixby, and Cortana. So what we do with it is whenever a fan is asking, hey, I want to see the match day, I want to know the schedule of this match day, we analyze the words. If this works, sorry. Okay. We analyze the most used words within those questions that affect La Liga, and we can understand what is the most demanded information that they need to know. As you can see, the first one would be get schedule. So that is very important for the fans. We need to work on that. And the second one is none. This because this is fairly new. So we need to work a lot of that on it and work and learn more about these kind of platforms. We are at the very early stages of this, but we're trying to make our best efforts to understand how to interact with the fan through these platforms. Obviously, this would not be possible, of this data and information that we get would not be possible if we don't have an anti-piracy department in La Liga. This is very important because we need to make people understand that data and how they stream football or any other sport has value. And if you watch a football match through not an official channel, what you do is you decrease the value of the competition. If you decrease the value of the competition, you decrease the value of the TV rights. And if you decrease the value of the TV rights, it's not only your club that loses money or investments, possible investments and opportunities, it's everything that surrounds La Liga, such as sponsors. So whenever you watch anything through an unofficial channel, what you do is you decrease the value of everything that surrounds La Liga. So this is very important for us, and we've been working on it for a long time. We have our legal department that works closely with the Spanish police and other institutions to sue these people and take down all these websites that are not official websites, because we take care of our broadcasters. We also have developed three platforms, three tools that are within are related to piracy, which are Marauder, Black Hole, and Lumiere. These tools help us identify the websites that have our content and they don't have the rights to them, right? And then, of course, communication is really important for us. We need everybody to understand the thing about the content that you see is decreasing this value if you don't watch it through the official channels, and most importantly, the fans. Because the fans are the ones that consumes football or sports or movies or whatever. So it's very important that people know that this only makes things worse for the industry. Obviously, we are not the only ones doing this. I think everybody in the world has a piracy problem. So we lobby with different institutions around the world and different governments to fight this. Now I'm going to talk two lines about the future. We believe that we cannot predict the future, right? And it's impossible to know what's going to happen, especially in this whole new universe that we just discovered, even though we've been working in it for like the past 4 years. But we believe that all this data is really, really important because sponsors, for example, like it's going to change the sponsors game for sure. The thing that's going to happen, or we believe it's going to happen, and that's where we are, the direction that we're going to, is that if I, as La Liga, want to collaborate with somebody, I know that that company or that potential sponsor is going to be looking at my data. Why? Because we have gathered so much information, so many numbers, that this has value too. So the potential sponsor is going to be interested in discovering which users that we have within our digital assets are going to be potential buyers of our product. So that's as far as I can read right now, because as I said, we are in the early stages. We've been working for 5 years now, and we still have a lot to learn and a lot to work on this. I think there are many things that none of us have discovered yet, and they're like this topic has so much potential, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to change the industry, or any other business in the world. So, as I said, information is power, and power is knowledge. And if you get to understand this knowledge and you understand the numbers that you're reading, that they have meaning, then you'll probably success in the data world. Thank you.